Good afternoon. My name is Vall Saltman, and I serve as the senior rabbi of Temple Beth-El here in Providence. I'm here to advocate for the passage of the Reproductive Healthcare Act, which will ensure on a statewide basis the constitutional right of every woman to make, in consultation with her loved ones and her physician, the critical choices regarding her personal health and well-being. This is not the first time I've testified here at the State House, and it will certainly not be the last. During past hearings, for example, on guns in schools or criminal justice issues, I've emphasized my religious role, citing particular Jewish texts and precepts that have defined our people's philosophical and ethical beliefs for many centuries. And indeed, Judaism is unwavering in its emphasis on the living. That is, it demonstrates a clear preference for the life and health of those who are already living, on the physical and psychological health of the mother, as opposed to the fetus, which is understood in Judaism as a potential life. It is also important to note that the particular branch of Judaism that I proudly represent, Reform Judaism, emphasizes the value of autonomy and personal choice above all else. We believe that every human being has the God-given ability to make choices in their education, career, sexuality, ethics, beliefs, and every other deeply held conviction, and that such choices are what makes each individual uniquely themselves. Indeed, we believe that the fundamental essence of what it means to be human is the ability to exercise free will. As the book of Deuteronomy teaches, quote, "I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life by loving your God, heeding God's command, and holding fast to God." And this is where religious traditions get tricky. Those on the other side of the aisle would say, "You see, Rabbi, it says choose life," with the emphasis on the word life. But our rabbis have repeatedly taught us that the emphasis is not on the word life, but on the word choose. That is, our lives are ultimately made up of a series of choices. Choices that define who we are and who we hope to be. And the choices that are most personal to us. Choices concerning a woman's right to self-determination, a woman's right to have autonomy over her own body. These are the choices that only a woman can make. Not the Congress, not the state legislator, not the preacher, not the rabbi, not even the concerned citizen who believes with all his heart and soul that he knows best. And this is why this issue is so confounding. You see, I believe with my heart and soul, in accordance with my religious beliefs, that human life begins at birth and not before. And others believe with their hearts and souls, in accordance with their religious beliefs, that human life begins at conception. And no one in this room, not even King Solomon himself, could possibly say that one side is right and the other side is wrong. Just because I believe in my tradition does not mean that it's universally true. It just means that I believe in its value and its worth. And the same principle applies to the other side. Just because you believe something to be true does not mean it's true. And it also does not mean that your truth is universally shared. It's just the truth you believe. And as comfortable as I am speaking to you as a rabbi, it may be time to take off my kippah, my rabbi's hat, and put on my lawyer's hat, for that is what I used to be in my former life. Accordingly, I would ask each of you to vote in favor of the Reproductive Healthcare Act, not because we authoritatively know when human life begins, but because we do not know when human life begins. I would ask you to vote in favor of this legislation, not because of your religious beliefs, but in spite of them, in order to ensure that every woman in Rhode Island continues to have a choice to make the most personal, life-defining decisions of her life. And I would ask you to vote in favor of this legislation because of the genuine concern that Roe v. Wade is in danger, as very articulate witnesses came before me said. It's in danger of being overturned. One need only listen to President Trump, who said he would be looking to appoint justices who would overturn the decision. One need only examine the well-established precedents that a professor of law spoke of earlier. Precedents for campaign finance, for example, they were well established for more than 50 years, from 63 on, actually. But until Citizens United, that decision eviscerated all of them. One need only witness the steady barrage of state legislatures doing everything in their power to limit a woman's right to choose. Let us not sit on our hands and wait to see what happens in Washington. In accordance with Rhode Island's proud history of freedom of choice and conscience, let us be proactive in protecting a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to full and complete autonomy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rabbi. Representative Corvese.
Thank you, Rabbi, for your comments. I'm heartened by the fact that you used the word potential this evening, because with the two dichotomies with regard to the religious perspective regarding life, those who believe it begins at birth, those who believe it begins at conception, all would not be able to deny the potential of life in both those instances and everywhere in between. I think that the word potential someday will resonate beyond these halls and hopefully throughout the country, and that will be a guiding principle. Thank you.
Perhaps you are correct.